So, on YouTube, did you see how many people have gone to the Stanley?
No.
Oh, because it's crazy, like, everybody. I saw, like, 15 or 16 YouTubers. Like, even Shane Dawson, like...
Even Shane Dawson was there?
Yeah. Him and his boyfriend and some other people, like, stayed the night at Stanley. I didn't watch the video, though, so I don't know how scary it was.
Warning. The topics discussed on this podcast are subject to adult themes and languages. We seek to unravel the unexplained and unknown. This is Encounters.
I did have full intentions of watching The Shining before today.
Me too, because I have the other version.
But I didn't.
The Stephen King version. No.
Unfortunately.
I should didn't. I don't even have a DVD player to watch it.
Shame.
I know.
Like, no, full on Cersei Nunn.
Shame.
Hi, welcome to Encounters. My name's Dakota.
And I'm Amanda.
And today we are jumping into the Colonial Revival Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, known as the Stanley Hotel.
Yes.
Yas, bitch.
By the way, during this research, Estes Park is beautiful. It's probably the most loveliest place ever.
Yeah, it sits right outside of the Rocky Mountain National Park. It's at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, and it is just gorgeous.
I know. Another place we want to stay.
I'd be scared to go up there with all the hail that's going on in Colorado right now, though. Did you see that they had this like land picture of where these softball-sized chunks of ice fell through and dented the fucking ground?
No way.
They had little meteor showers up in Colorado.
It's definitely reptilians. They're definitely...
I mean, it could be reptilians. Here's the thing. They're supposed to live in the crust of the earth, and the Rockies are like this collide of earth, so maybe it's like a castle to them, and they're like, stay the fuck away from our New York. This is our version of New York. Stay the fuck away from it. Don't come inside. You are not welcome. We want to eat you.
Alright.
I still can't get over that apparently Queen Elizabeth is a fucking reptilian.
I mean, no comment. She is. Me and my friends were talking about it earlier today. Like, she's up in age. She might be. But I'm not saying she is or isn't. Please don't come after me. I already got shadow people.
Ain't that the truth? I don't need any trouble, please.
Right?
No.
By the way, I got a text from somebody who said they wanted to get a Ouija board. Do you have anything to say about that?
Okay. How about this? You wanted to go ahead and throw me out under the bus? That's fine. Hey, audience. Amanda wants to do an episode about Ouija boards and spirit boards. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be good research to go and meet with somebody that has a Ouija board and to purchase one and test it myself. What do you think? We'll release a Facebook poll this week. You let me know. Yes or no?
No. Everybody tell him no. And you need to listen to the to the episode.
I didn't say I was going to do it at my house.
Whose house? Where are you going to do it?
I don't know anybody. I'll find somebody.
No. So you're going to get somebody else's house haunted? That's rude.
That's not rude. We've closed the portal.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Anyway, back to Stanley Hotel. Sorry, we got off.
Stanley Hotel is, I think, best known for being the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining's Overlook Hotel. That's kind of, I think, where the fame really sets in.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful hotel, even by itself, though, you guys. And it's listed in the National Register of Historic Places and was built by a man named Freeland Oscar Stanley, who was, like, famous for... I don't know. What was he famous for? Isn't it, like, steam engines or something?
He was a wealthy man. I don't remember. I didn't write down what he got his money from.
Yes! Freeland Oscar Stanley was the inventor of the steam-powered car. Oh, that's how he had all his money.
Okay. He was from Massachusetts.
Yeah, he built up this place, and it opened officially July 4th, 1909.
And they built it so all their rich friends could come out into the country with them and, like, have a beautiful place to stay.
Well, there's that, and there's also the fact that the man who took it over, Freeland Oscar Stanley, the man who created this hotel, had tuberculosis, and in those days, in the early 1900s, it was considered the best medicine was in the mountains. You had to get away from the city. You had to go to a drier climate with the fresh mountain air, and that would help. And it actually did help him with a lot of the dry air and sunlight and a very good diet. He was able to continue living even with tuberculosis.
I'm not surprised. They said Estes Park, a lot of people go there for spiritual and healing, just because it's just kind of getting connected with nature. A lot of Native Americans would hunt out there and do stuff like that before he had built this hotel.
In fact, he lived to be 91 years old.
Damn.
And only died of a heart attack after he was back in Newton, Massachusetts. When he first bought the land and built the house, he was trying to figure out a name for it, and there was a man named Lord Dunraven, who the ranchers and farmers absolutely hated, but he had been the one that had protected the land for the longest. Stanley wanted to name it after him, but everybody was like, nah, fuck that. We're not calling it the Dunraven. It's going to be called the Stanley. And thus, Stanley Hotel became Stanley Hotel.
And a lot of people think that him and his wife, they still haunt the land because they loved it so much. A lot of people feel that way. Because they say that a lot of the activity that happens at the Stanley Hotel is not very dangerous or scary, or like the spirits don't seem angry. It's more like helpful and protective of the Stanley.
Being built in 1909 and having a rich history of being a prosperous land for centuries before that, this place has the perfect ringing of being a residual haunting, for the sheer fact that the spirits that seem to be present at this location are not doing malicious things to humans. There are things that happen that are spooky, but it is in our interpretation of this spirit doing something that it frightens us. If a spirit unfolds some laundry or closes a door, it's not as scary as hearing a child laughing running down the hallway. Though the child laughing and running down the hallway may not be malicious in intent, we still interpret it as scary because there wasn't a child running down no goddamn hallway. Just all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was a tangent.
Yeah, I mean, it's all scary, but like you said, it's not malicious. A lot of people talk about room 217.
Yes, the most famous room at this hotel.
Ooh, scary. And it kind of starts in 1911. There's a housekeeper named Elizabeth Wilson. So the power had gone out at the hotel, and the Stanleys had put in gas-powered lights as like a second source of lights. So they had told Elizabeth to go light the candles in all the rooms. So without knowledge, she went to 217 and she didn't know that there was a gas leak. Nobody knew there was a gas leak. So when she opened the door with the candle, the room exploded, sent her flying down to like the first floor dining room, I think they said. I don't remember exactly, but like she went flying across the house. Ended up surviving. They like rushed her to the hospital. They got her treatment. Like it was raining. It was actually a very like treacherous journey to the doctor because of all the rain and stuff like that. But they made it, and she ended up working at the Stanley from 1913 to 1950 after she recovered. Like she worked. She still loved the place even though she had such a traumatic thing happen there.
Guests have often reported that their items go missing or that luggage is unpacked and that lights will be turned on and off. Somebody even reports Miss Wilson is also old-fashioned. She doesn't like it when unmarried guests shack up together, so some couples have reported feeling a cold force come between them. Amanda, what if that happened to us?
I mean, like, we're not even...
We're not trying to do that. It's okay.
Right.
We're just scared of you.
They also report being tucked into bed. I think in this room. It might be another one, but there's reports of the bed being made while people are still in it, which is kind of hilarious.
It's also an urban legend that this room is never available to be booked, but apparently you can book this room. And I just want to let everyone know right now, I went to the Stanley Hotel, and this is how much you can pay to stay in one of their haunted 4th floor rooms. Well, that's the 2nd floor, but it starts at $369 a night. The room will fit 3 people.
Okay.
It's on the most active 4th floor where everyone experiences some kind of unexplained phenomenon. It features an alarm clock, a hairdryer, an ironing board, an iron, a shower, and a coffee maker.
There you go.
And if you have AARP, you could get it for $332.
Yes, time to seniors.
Please. That's awful. They're trying to get them there to make them additions to the hotel.
Stop it.
Sorry. But I thought that was interesting. This room's also very important because this is the room that Stephen King stayed in when he stayed at the hotel. Amanda, do you want to tell us about Stephen King's stay in room 217?
Yeah, so Stephen King and his wife had gone there. They were the only people at the hotel, actually. It was going to close for winter, and so there was nobody else there but him and his wife. And he was creeped out by the hotel, but I didn't come across any actual hauntings that he experienced at the hotel, but that night he had a horrible nightmare that he was in the hallway and he saw his 3-year-old son, and he was being attacked by a fire hose, and it was wrapping around him, and the son was screaming, and then he woke up and went out to the balcony, had a cigarette, and then came up with the outline for The Shining.
Yeah, Stephen King has even gone on record to say hotels are suspicious places.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to imagine, like, you're at this big-ass hotel, and Stephen King even describes, like, the dining room, all the chairs are up on every single table except the one him and his wife are eating at. You've got an empty hotel completely devoid of anything except you and your wife. Rooms 217 serves as the 2nd floor in the center of the West Wing with a balcony overlooking the South Terrace, and it remains one of the hotel's most requested accommodations. So I bet you can't get it for $333, but drop $500 and you can have it.
Yeah, probably. A lot of people, I think Jim Carrey stayed in this room.
I don't know if it was this room, but Jim Carrey did stay at this hotel, and he stayed here while they were filming, Dumb and Dumber, at the famous little hotel that they were doing, and Jim Carrey said nothing about his experiences, but everybody else on set was like, he was in there for a couple hours and then was like, I'm done, and wouldn't talk to anybody about it and requested a change of room.
Yeah, and to this day, he still won't talk about it. That's so crazy. I bet he saw like an apparition or something.
I bet he did. I bet something happened.
I mean, we have to not talk about it, for real.
There's also a vortex that's considered to be in the stairwell.
I know nothing about a vortex.
No, they say that the staircase is called a vortex because it's where the ghosts are known to be most of the time. Almost like a rapid transit system.
Yeah. Which wouldn't surprise me. I saw this really cool picture, which I sent it to Dakota. This guy had taken at the Stanley Hotel on the of the staircase, and there was just a person just standing there, like an old-timey looking clothes. It looked like a woman in a dress. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a vortex.
Yeah, me either. Jumping back to the 4th floor, this, when Stanley Hotel was first built, used to serve as an attic where the female employees and children and nannies would stay and reside. That's one of the reasons that they have reports of children running up and down the hallways, laughing, giggling, and playing. They also say on this floor, specifically in room 401, the closet tends to open and shut of its own accord. Think the twins from The Shining.
Mm-hmm. I would. Ugh. I don't know what I would do hearing like ghost children. I think that would scare me more than like anything else. Is ghost children.
Yeah, I think that would scare the living shit out of me.
You're right, just like hearing kids like laughing and running down your hall and then saying nothing. I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah, because I already don't like hearing that. So like,
Right?
all of a sudden you make it dead and coming after me, and it's like I can't handle this.
They say they think Lord Dunraven haunts room 417. Did you hear about that?
I didn't know about that at all. That's the guy
Yeah.
who used to protect the lands.
Yeah, because since people had such a problem with him, and he bought all that land and was protecting it for so long, they think that his energy still stays there. And this is more of like a spirit that will kind of mess with people. It's been known that things will go flying across the room, lights will turn on and off, people's stuff will go missing. I remember reading a story that a woman's husband was putting his glasses on the dresser and they kept flying off the dresser onto the floor. And then he was washing his hands and he put his wedding ring on the side of the sink and his wedding ring fell into the sink and down the drain, and they had to come and pull it out, and then it happened again, and then they had to come pull it out again. And then the woman swore that she saw a man smoking a cigarette. I mean, not a cigarette, a pipe in her room. So a lot of people.
I cannot even.
Right? So a lot of people think it's Lord Dunraven because he watched over the land for so long, and this hotel came there and became very, very popular, and so people think that he's trying to get a little bit of revenge in the afterlife.
Since they didn't want him there in the first place.
Exactly. Like, they ran him out of town.
They also say that it's a sign of bravery to stay in room 428, which is reported to have footsteps and furniture moving randomly throughout the night. Even though it's actually impossible given the fact that there's a slope on the roof. The real haunt in this room, though, is said to be a friendly cowboy who appears at all corners of the bed.
No.
No, sir. Mm-mm. Of all of that, I don't want that for sure.
Oh, no. I remember...
Hey, boy. How you doing tonight?
I think it's for women, though. I don't think he talks to the dudes.
Oh, thank God. Okay, well, you'd be fucked. I'd be asleep.
Well, we would be in room 217, so it would be okay.
Yeah, no, that's true.
We
I'm
get the
not trying to
friendly
go
maid
in no
ghost.
ghost room.
No, room 17 is the most ghosty room.
No, that one I can handle. I don't want friendly cowboy man in the room.
Or angry Dunraven either. Or children.
Or children. Going back to that photo you were talking about, it was actually snapped in front of the grand staircase, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe it was from 2016 when a visitor from Houston snapped some photos on the grand staircase and noticed there was an apparatus at the top that nobody else ever saw. And it was the ghostly image of a woman at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, it was creepy.
I think one of the things that I found the most interesting, honestly, about the spooky stuff at Stanley was the fact that it sits on top of a limestone and quartz mine.
Mm-hmm.
There are underground caves all below Stanley, which is actually where the night spirit tour that Stanley offers ends up. You go down below, and where these workers were working, you can see just large amounts of limestone and quartz everywhere, which is common in ghost hunter lore to be what helps capture energy at a specific site.
Yeah. A lot of the reasons people say hotels get so haunted is because there's so much energy there, because normally people are traveling from all over. A lot of good things happen at hotels, a lot of bad things happen at hotels, and you can kind of be anonymous. So there's always just a lot of energy. So you had like a hotel built on limestone, it's not surprising that there's so much residual energy there that takes place there.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting, Stanley Hotel has hosted its fair share of paranormal investigations all over the place. Like, I thought Myrtle's Plantation had a lot of, like, exposure. Yes. No, Stanley Hotel has 10 times the exposure and 20 times its press. And everyone from Travel Channel's Ghost Hunters to Sci-Fi's Ghost Adventures had...
No, you switched them. Ghost Hunters is on Sci-Fi. And Ghost Adventures is on Travel.
All the paranormal shows have gone to Stanley Hotel. And, in fact, Lisa Nehart, who leads the ghost investigations at the Stanley Hotel, has even coined it the Disneyland for ghosts. Mm-hmm. Which I think is fucking hilarious. Because it kind of is. It's almost like a zoo, just because there's so many different types of spirits that are there. Most people report, like, lights flickering or doors just, like, slamming shut, seeing shadows, getting chills, and hearing the laughter of children. But that, as I was saying before, is more of them interacting the way that they would have in their time versus how we react hearing it out of thin air. Mm-hmm. Which is what really, to me, marks the stamp of approval on this Stanley Hotel being a residual haunted zone. I don't know if there is any intelligent haunted spaces there, except maybe Dunraven's room. That's something I didn't even know about.
No, I agree. I remember watching Ghost Hunters and their episode where they go to Stanley Hotel, and there's a part where Jason, who's one of the head investigators, is just laying in bed and has a camera set up, and you literally see the closet door just opening and closing during the night. And another part where, like, a cup just caves in on itself, pretty much just breaks for no reason, and you're just like, what the crap is going on? Grant, another one of their investigators, is changing a light, and he had the cameraman helping him, like, and you just see a table lift up and fly across the room.
That's crazy. Okay, Amanda, you and I are going to Stanley Hotel. What do we need to do to make sure that we can capture residual energy evidence to prove that Stanley Hotel is haunted?
I don't know. We're going to probably bring a camera.
Yeah, we're going to bring a video camera.
And a camera to take pictures.
A digital camera.
A lot of people get orbs in the ballroom. I mean, just like we said, a whole full body apparition at the top of the stairs. So a camera would be something we definitely want to bring.
Yup. We'd bring an EMF reader.
Mm-hmm. What's an EMF reader?
The EMF reader is the electromagnetic frequency reader. It's believed that because spirits are in a different, like, realm, they communicate on a wholly different level, usually something that humans themselves can't hear or feel or read. That's not true, but...
Yeah, I mean, I guess psychic.
We would also bring a digital thermometer so that we could measure temperatures in rooms, because we know that as spirits move, we have cold spots and hot spots.
Mm-hmm. A tape recorder.
Absolutely. I think the tape recorder is one of the most important things. I don't know if it's as important with residual hauntings, other than capturing children laughing and other things like that. I think because you're working on getting EVPs when you're using an audio recorder.
Yeah, but even if it's residual and it's having like a conversation, you can still pick that up.
That's true.
Because I mean, I think it was like at the OK Corral, they like caught just like the bar noises even though nobody was in there.
EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon.
Yes!
Just in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, it's those voices you don't necessarily hear first time around. Or you can't hear with the human ears.
Absolutely, because they're played at such a low frequency. They say it's like a dog whistle for humans. Like, animals can pick up on it, but humans cannot. Which is why they say that animals are good for warding away spirits or warning you that they're there. Except my dog.
Well, your dog is scared for a little Delilah. That's why you don't need to be playing with no Ouija board. You don't scare that dog.
Right. don't know what else to talk about now. I guess it is important to make sure that we understand that with residual energy, it's not malicious. So what it actually is just energy that has culminated in the space, replaying again and again and again. We do see some signs of intelligence, especially in the housekeeper and in the old owner that refuses to leave. But we don't get any malicious intent from them, so it's hard to walk that line between intelligent versus residual. If you are interested in knowing anything about the Spirit Tour, I encourage you to go to www.stanleyhotel.com. Check it out. It's expensive.
I mean, but it's cool.
It is cool. It was interesting to learn about this hotel. It's got some quirks. It's got some spooky things that happen. It doesn't really have a traumatic past. There was a lot of tuberculosis around because, the mountain air was good. But other than that, I mean, there were some bad things that happened to the housekeeper. But other than that, there wasn't really too many terrible things that we could find on record that happened at Stanley Hotel.
Yeah, it doesn't have like a crazy traumatic past, like something like the Myrtle Plantation, where a lot of people passed away in that.
Or even Amityville, where the family was murdered in cold blood.
Energy is energy. Even if it's good, it can still be held on to. It doesn't have to just be traumatic stuff that happens. A lot of people had a lot of good times at Stanley Hotel. The ballroom is known for a lot of activity. And it's because there was a lot of parties there and a lot of good times there, so that's kind of imprinted on the hotel as well.
It just goes to show you that, I don't know what it goes to show you, honestly.
Honestly, to me, it's a lot of the spirits that are staying at the Stanley want to stay. It's like the owner or the maid. They want to stay there and protect it and look after it. It's not just like, oh, a bunch of people were murdered here, so all these poor spirits are stuck here. No, these people kind of want to stay here, almost. I saw this guy talking. He's like, if you were going to be stuck wandering the earth, why wouldn't you stay at the Stanley Hotel? Like, if I was a ghost, I would probably want to stay at Stanley, too.
The Disneyland for spirits, everyone.
Yeah, so...
That's Stanley Hotel.
It's a wonderful place. You can stay there if you'd like. You could join. You can do ghost hunts there. It's a really interesting place.
You said join, and it's like, it made me think, like, you can go join the dead. You just...
Well, I was going to say join all the other YouTubers who ghost hunt, but I was like, that sounds a little petty, so let me just stop.
Let me just roll that back. No, it's a really cool place. It gave us a wonderful work of fiction by Stephen King, but even Stephen King himself states that yes, he did have an experience at the Stanley Hotel, but not all of the things that happen at the Overlook are directly linked to Stanley Hotel in any way. It is a work of fiction. It's a damn good work of fiction, but we also need to examine that the Overlook really represents a lot more than just the Stanley Hotel. I mean, it itself is the monster in Stephen King's book. It's trying to make people become one of the stories that happens at the hotel. And isn't it about, like, combating alcoholism?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's a drunk. And then he starts drinking again. And Stephen King doesn't like that movie.
He doesn't?
No.
Why not?
He doesn't like Kubrick. Because he doesn't feel like it represents the book.
Oh, well, it probably doesn't. I tried to find the book at the used bookstore before the episode, but they didn't have it. They had a bunch of other Stephen King, but they didn't have this one. And
you know what? I did Google us today. We were the top 3. Not top 3. There was one above us. But like the first 3. Wait, what am I trying to say? Anyway, we were on Google. We were like the top 3 under celebrity encounters with ghosts.
Ooh. As always, like and review. Please Leave us a review on iTunes. You never know how much that will mean to us. It means a lot, please.
And I think next week, what did we decide?
Black-eyed children, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Black-eyed children are so creepy. Oh my god.
We're going to tell you the story of the black-eyed child.
Oh.
And why you should never, ever, ever open the door and let them in.
Right? I guess that's it.
So until next time, I'm Dakota.
I'm Amanda. You can do your thing?
Yes, keep it shining.
I threw up. I literally just threw up.